All right, let's go over a few more. So scenario 7, it's been 2 weeks. You've been working diligently as a valuable member of your team. Your supervisor is extremely busy, don't like to be disturbed. It's been close to 2 weeks since you had a one-on-one meeting with your supervisor where you're able to give your latest update on your project. You're not even sure if the supervisor even knows about the project you're working on, as the supervisor has not given you a specific deadline for some of the future tasks, and the supervisor has not scheduled any meetings to receive an update. You're not sure how to approach this. Should you call the supervisor, email the supervisor, send message over Slack? You don't want to disturb the supervisor after all. It's a very common situation. What would you do in this scenario? Again, take out a piece of paper, write down your response, or write down your response over on computer. And once you come up with your ways, then let's compare with my method. Okay, you can pause the video now. Okay, so one of the issue here is it's already been close to 2 weeks. So you had a one-on-one and you were able to give a latest update. So maybe you haven't sent a daily update or a weekly update. I like daily updates, especially if you're working on very important projects that the supervisor is really interested on. But at the very minimum, you need to provide a weekly update, even if they didn't ask for it. If you don't send an update in less than a week, you're doing something wrong. You cannot wait for your supervisor to ask you for an update. So at the very minimum, you got to send in a weekly update where it can be digested maybe in 5 minutes, right? Don't make it long. They don't want to read over a long email, especially something you send over on Friday. Make it concise, but give honest progression report about what you're working on. And if you need feedback, ask for some other feedback. So anyway, and it seems like you have some projects you're not sure what the deadlines are. Whose fault is that? Is that the supervisor's fault that they didn't give you clear deadlines? No, just assume that it's your fault. Yeah, maybe the supervisor should have given you better deadlines, but there are 159 other projects going on. How could the supervisor really keep track of all of those? And maybe I'm too lenient on the supervisor because I'm one, but it doesn't hurt for you to assume they're busy. And just like how you want them to be considerate of your time, return the karma by being considerate of their time. So what are the things you could do? Do you ask for a meeting? You could, but is there a way that this could still be done in a few minutes? And if the answer is yes, it could be done over a few minutes, if you put together an effective communication, I'll always follow that. So if it was me, I would send an email and say, boss, wanted to give you an update. Or you give an update and maybe that's a few minutes, right? That's it. Or maybe you send an email and say, hey, boss, I would like to send you a more detailed update at the end of the week. But before I do, it's early in the week, I wanted to confirm and get your input on the projects that you've assigned me to do. Here are 3 projects and here are the 3 deadlines that you were giving me or that I've set for myself. Before I spend further time on these projects and go deeper, in preparations for our meeting on so-and-so, could you please confirm whether the priorities for these projects and the deadlines for these projects look appropriate for your needs? Or is there any adjustment you want me to make in terms of the priority or the deadline? Question mark. Very effective email. Again, I may have talked about some of these in the other videos because the supervisor can say very quickly, drop that project, move that deadline, blah, 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 and it's done, right? You didn't have to have a 30-minute meeting to go over all of the scenarios. It's a waste of time, right? By you carefully crafting that email, you made it very easy for the supervisor to make decision, and you communicated that effectively over email. Okay, you don't even need a phone call on that. Phone call to explain that would take you a lot of time. Phone call in a way is a lazy way. Putting something in writing is a considerate way for you to explore how you can communicate more concisely, more effectively. Okay, scenario 8, update from Slack. Your team uses Slack heavily. Your supervisor also likes to use Slack to communicate. One day your supervisor sent you a message to everyone. That supervisor manages 10 people. The manager says something like, "Hi team, next Wednesday we're going to have a meeting to discuss about project A, B, and C." Did not have a question, did not ask for any additional feedback, did not ask for any feedback, so no one responded yet. You're like, oh, this is an announcement. Should you respond? The answer is yes, you need to respond. Now, when it comes to some of these communication, if it was over Slack, you can also just add reactions like thumbs up or celebration or whatever to let them know that you got the message, right? So it's not just a one-way conversation. When no one responds back, it's like your supervisor's talking to a dead wall. Not real people with emotions, with passion and goals, to dead wall. No one wants to talk to a dead wall. Okay, so always respond within minutes. If it was addressed to the group, you can, and if no one responded yet, you can, click on reply to the thread, add some message, short message, or at the very least, you need to add a reaction to let the team know that, hey, you got this and you're on top of these communication. Okay?